Hey, what's up, everyone? Sorry for taking freaking ages to do a new video. Let's just dive right into it, shall we? Okay, so for the last couple of months since I moved back here, I've been working with more clients than I have ever done before. And it's been awesome. And I've learned and grown a lot through this, learned more, gone into more detail about everything that I already know, and it's just been an incredible process. Obviously the downsides of it for me has been that I've been more busy with that, and every session that I have, like I pour a lot into those sessions, and sometimes I feel like uh, everything that I would normally put into a video goes into my sessions. So now I'm learning to kind of bring back that balance and uh, keep doing these videos. And I want to do these videos for years and years to come. So you guys better get used to me. And you better not get sick of me. All right, let's get into this. The first month, the first week of a loss, a breakup, um, the first week is the hardest. The first month is the hardest. And then it starts to change dramatically. It's still difficult. I think the first 3 months are, generally very tough, but the first 3 months are extremely transformative, and it's almost like the birth of a new baby. And it's a great way to describe it because that is what's happening, or that is what you could make of it. Not many people use the opportunity of a loss or a huge change or a breakup to do this, but um, for me, it was an incredible transformation, and for many people, it has been, and it is. Through difficulty, through difficult things like this, especially really brutal, very challenging, hard times, um, we get to forge and create and develop an improved character and an improved version of ourselves, an improved personality. We, because it's like a shakeup, because it's so, it can be devastating, the change, mentally devastating, physically, emotionally crushing. It's almost as if this building that we had had built has just tumbled down, and we get to now build something new. Or I like to think of it as like this thing that was solid now has become liquid, and we get to remold it. And one of the fears that people have is that they're losing something. They're losing something that they had, whether it's themselves or whatever. It's absolutely not true. That's just, again, fear, negative self-talk coming in. Um, you're going to retain and keep everything that you had. You're just going to now add onto it, and you're going to enhance what you had, and you're going to get rid of things that no longer serve you, that you don't need. They're just kind of like just there, and they're sticking onto you, and they're just slowing you down. It's like almost like, the sharks that have those fish that are attached to them, and the more and more, it just creates drag, and it's like you're going to get rid of things that you don't need, and you're going to streamline your life, and it's going to feel amazing. It really is a rebirth. Um, it is a phoenix rising from the ashes. It's a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It's all of those things. But sadly, the majority of people out there, even, very rich people, famous people, I heard recently that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are going through breakup. You see, it happens to everyone. It's no one's immune from it. It's a part of life, okay? Not just breakups, but just loss in general. So, the first thing that you've got to understand is that this happens to everyone, okay? This is just a part of life. And it's not going to be the first time, it's not going to be the last time. There's going to be losses ahead in our life, okay? So it's just now through this, you're going to learn how to navigate through losses and, challenges in the future again. And those challenges are you're going to start seeing them. You remember Pac-Man, like, would eat one of those big uh, orange balls, the big balls, and then would would turn into, like, just it would boost Pac-Man, and Pac-Man would go around and just destroy and crush everything. And that's like a breakup or a challenge. You'll start to see it that way. You'll be like, yes, this is now an opportunity for me to enhance myself even more, turn myself more into a beast, and in a good way, by the way, and just become stronger, wiser, just a more brilliant, incredible, refined version of yourself. Okay? And it's going to make life much more fun. You're going to flow through life better. You're going to have that wisdom. You're going to have more love, more passion than ever, more interest in life than ever. But getting through that first month, getting through that first week, it's almost like all this stuff that you're going to get out of it is the reward. And the rewards are as extreme, if not more, than the pain. So the pain is going to be balanced. All the pain you're going through, all the suffering, you're going to get the equal amount in intensity of satisfaction, pleasure, strength, energy, life. So just think of that whenever you feel like how shit you feel, and you feel like sometimes like on the verge of like just it's too much and you can't handle it. The bliss and the strength and the life you're going to have once you just get through that is going to be incredible. And you're going to be so, so proud of yourself and so glad that you went through that difficult time. And I've had many clients that have done it. I'm so proud of my clients. One of my first ever clients, I'm not going to mention names, but was going through a real difficult breakup, and then I recently, just a couple of weeks ago, got, such an awesome, email from him. And this is like a year later, I believe. We started working. He was one of my first ever clients, and has written 2 books now. It's just classic. Turned this into, like I said, like Pac-Man just ate like one of those things and just blasted out of himself just his full potential. And I'm sure if he's watching, he knows that there's still way more potential to emerge. And it's through these hard times that our potential comes out. Okay, and yes, we hate these hard times. They're unpleasant, they're uncomfortable, we dislike them. When we're going through it, we don't want to be going through it. Hey, what does it remind you of? It reminds me of being in the gym when I'm doing push-ups and I'm already tired. When I'm doing pull-ups and on the whatever, just wrestling, and wrestling is so hard. Like, when we have jiu-jitsu and boxing, kickboxing, then you have wrestling, which is the hardest of all. It's so grueling and you're so tired, you're just exhausted, but then you have to keep pushing, okay? You don't want to be going through it at the time, but guess what? When it's done, when you've done it and you've gotten through it, at the end of the class, you feel like a beast. You feel powerful, so alive, you feel energized, you feel so strong. And it's because all of that difficulty that you went through has made everything else in life blissful and easy. I remember before I used to train, I started training about 6 years ago. And before I used to train, no exaggerating here, bending down to pick something off the floor to me would be like, ugh, ugh, look, ugh, ugh. That's how I would pick something up off the floor, right? That's how difficult my life was. That something as simple as that for me was just a source of stress and discomfort and even physical injury. Like it was just, I was unhealthy. And if I send you guys a picture of what I look like, you'll be shocked. I was 210 pounds. It's another video. But the point is that yes, it hurts. You're going through a baptism right now. And sadly, as I said, most people, even people like Angelina or Brad Pitt, rich people, they don't know what to do. Now all this stuff that we're talking about, is becoming more and more accessible. It's being spread around the world. People are realizing this all has to do with your thoughts and the way you think, and just mastering your attention and placing your attention on the right things, and that it just takes time, to create those new habits of thinking, okay? Because the habit of thinking negatively has been developed over years and years and years. Thankfully, it's like someone at the gym. When you stop energizing and exercising those habits, they very quickly get out of shape. All right? It's like going to the gym and you stop training. After like 2 weeks, you're like out of shape. Well, not out of shape, but you've lost a lot. So the good news is that our body is designed to adapt. And that's why when we stop training, we quickly go out of shape, or when we stop, the negative thinking or any type of thinking, when we stop doing those habits, they'll quickly be able to subside as long as we do it effectively and we train properly. And that's what I'm trying to share as effectively as I can in my videos and in my coaching, is the best techniques, the most effective way that we can go through a breakup or a tough situation to get the most out of it. Because it is a blessing in disguise. It is. And that's, I guess, the ultimate positive thought you can have of all during this. Maybe that's like the crown that you get at the end, is that positive way of looking at difficulties in life. And as I said, wrestlers are masters of this. Mixed martial arts, for those of you that don't know, it combines boxing, karate, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, Muay Thai. It's like every martial art you can imagine, all combined. So a great mixed martial artist can do all of these things, or many of these things. And then wrestling is one of the great foundations. And what makes wrestling really special is wrestlers who have trained from an early age. Basically, what wrestling trains you to do is to not give up. That's the gift of wrestling. If I have children, I'm going to want them to learn wrestling. Okay? See, jiu-jitsu is different. Jiu-jitsu, you'll learn to fight off your back. So if someone throws you down, jiu-jitsu teaches you to be comfortable on the ground, not to freak out, to be relaxed. Wrestling, on the other hand, if someone takes down a wrestler, they will program themselves from an early age training to get back up, to never be held down, and to always see and think about the strengths and positive things and the opportunities that exist in every situation. So, for example, in a week's time, the gym that I train at here, Team Quest in Temecula, California, is the great fighter Dan Henderson. He's the main guy who trains down here. And he has a fight in a week. And Dan Henderson, I think he's 46 or 47, which is considered, really, uh, you know, let me just tell you that there's people that are fighting who are 19, okay? And people, you tend to kind of get into your prime around, you know, early 30s, okay? So for him to be fighting at 46 and he's still crushing it, and in a few days, this weekend, he's going to be fighting for the title, for the actual belt. And he's won all the belts in all other organizations. This guy is incredible. But the reason I bring him up is because he's a wrestler, and he was an Olympic wrestler. And if you look at the UFC or these fighters, the ones that keep fighting up until an older age, because Dan Henderson's not the only one, there are some others that have gone into their 40s and they're still very, very strong and competitive. Most of them have been wrestlers, okay? So the reason I'm bringing it up is because you don't have to be born a wrestler. It's just a way of thinking, and you can do this in a period of 3 months. You can do this in a period of 6 months. Some people can even in a day, they can just have an awakening and they just see things differently, okay? So the way that it happened for me, it took me, I would say, about a year, a good year, but I was very disciplined and I was working on it a lot. It took me about, the thing is that what I'm sharing with everyone, I discovered over the period of a long time, but most of this really powerful stuff I learned over the period of a year and a half, okay? So when I started, I didn't know all the things that I knew, obviously, at the end. So when I'm having sessions with people, when I'm sharing, the most critical stuff, doing all of these things, as many of them as possible, helps tremendously. All right, so this video is going to wind up getting pretty long, so let me just try and get into a little bit of the meat here. So the reason why these challenges are difficult is, first of all, we have basically switched our fuel. We've gone from being dependent on someone else, that someone has been our fuel, to keep us going, and now we've changed our fuel. That fuel is no longer there, and we've got to find a new fuel. And people can find energy in all kinds of things. Unfortunately, most of us will be going for the quick energy. And this is very similar to your physical diet. I made a switch about 7 or 8 years ago from a carb-based diet. Again, remember, I was very overweight. I used to eat a lot of bread. I didn't even think about what I was eating. Like, I didn't realize that there's healthy food. I mean, I knew there was healthy food and unhealthy food, but I didn't know just how much of the stuff that I thought was okay was actually really not good for me, okay? So the major switch I made in my diet was from a carb-based diet to a fat-based diet, okay? And it's just amazing, again, another video for another time, but how over the last 100 years, we were misled, humans were misled by society, by businesses who wanted to sell bread, by the grain industries, by the wheat industries, misled by business so that we would buy more of their products, so that there will be more pizza, burgers, sandwiches. So people, that stuff is addictive, okay? Bread is basically cake. It winds up, a lot of it becomes sugar and stored in the body. That's why we love it. I mean, there's nothing I love more than bread. Like, but I don't, I keep away from it. I have my cheat days, but that's about it. But you see, from the carb-based diet to a fat-based diet, it's very different. And it's similar to like when you've gone out of a breakup to going to self-love. It's very similar to being dependent on someone else to give you that energy, that happiness, that wholeness. From going from that to finding that generating within yourself. It takes a while to get this motor generated from within, but when you get this motor going, oh my goodness, it's a long term, it lasts longer. It's like pushing a huge snowball or a Titanic ship that turns slowly, and the snowball takes a while to get going, but once it's going, it smashes everything in its way. It just crushes everything. And that's how it is when you're able to go from a, a carb based, which is, I'm trying to, connect it with like, using other people to energize you, whether it's like, just being around people or, your relationship, your ex. You're going from that source of energy to now a healthier source of energy, which you're generating from within. And like now I'm more on physically on a fat-based diet, which is things like avocados, nuts. I eat fatty meats like salmon. I just that stuff. It takes a while for your body to adjust because carbs and sugar, it gives you a spike. You get like a damn, that was amazing. You get that like, oh, that was good. When you eat some pizza, it's almost you're like an addict, right? You just want to get it in your mouth. You just want to get it in there, and as soon as you swallow it, you're just like, oh, it hits you right here, right? It's just like, oh, yes, yes, I feel whole. I feel love, right? I feel alive. This is what life is about, right? Those feelings, they come to you. You feel happy, right? It's a spike. Carbs are spike. They're a boost because you feel that it's a high. You feel a high. But the problem with highs is they don't last a long time. Okay, so for me, I made the switch. Yes, I don't get those highs that I get from like the sugary things, the wheat, all that. I don't get those highs anymore. But my energy lasts a long time. When I eat something fatty, good fats, good meals. I eat a lot of avocados. I eat like maybe 2 avocados a day at least. Fortunately, I live around like there's all avocado farms here, so I just go and pick them because those things are not cheap. But the point is, I'm going to wrap it up because I could go on about this for hours, is that you're switching your energy source, okay? And you're going from a short, fix, addictive energy spike, something that just gives you that fix, to a slow burning, longer lasting, healthier, self-generating energy source, which is self-love. And self-love is all about your connection with yourself, your goals, your journey of life that you're on, discerning between being dependent on other things to make you happy and being independent. And being independent doesn't mean being alone. If you look at the word independent, it basically just means not being dependent. It doesn't mean you're being alone or, get that thought out of your heads. Being independent just means being free of someone or something controlling you, being in control of your happiness. How horrible is it that, for us to have given away our happiness, our power, we've given it away to so many things, and then we wind up becoming slaves to all those things. Well, freedom isn't going to be case of pushing a button and it's just you're going to be free and then you're going to have your self-love and finally I'm free and I'm independent and my happiness is right here. I have it. It's in my control. It's not going to happen with just a button, okay? I wish it would. But if it did happen with a button, it wouldn't work either, because the process of what you're going to have to go through is what's going to develop that, um, all the stuff that's going to turn you into a powerhouse. It's change, okay? And change can be painful. We don't want to change. We want to just stay with what we have, even if what we have is killing us slowly, depressing us, making us more empty. Yeah, the prospect of change is so like, oh, I don't want to go through. I don't want to change. But as I said, your entire life is going to be full of these events. So learning to get it done is just something we all have to do. And the sooner you do it, the better. So just get it done. And there's no better opportunity than when you go through like a breakup or something difficult, because you're already hurting. You're already in pain. So might as well say, F this, I'm just gonna go for it. Like, fuck this shit. I'm already suffering. Fuck it. Let's just go. Like, I'm just gonna embrace this and I'm gonna cleanse it. I'm not gonna let the burn just happen 70% of the way, and I'm just gonna be like, I don't want to. I don't want to change. No, you're already going through it. Just embrace it. Okay, let it cleanse you completely. All right, I actually made some notes here so that I don't wind up rambling on too much, but okay, going from dependency doesn't mean yes. Okay, yeah, all right. This is going to be a longish video, but I'm going to try and wrap it up. I'll tell you what I want to talk about. I'll talk about all this stuff in another video. Like I said, there's so much stuff now that I'm going to be making a lot of videos, but for now, here's what I want to talk about, okay? I want to talk about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, for those of you who don't know, was one of the greatest boxers of all time. He basically used, because look, why a lot of people struggle and have a hard time with their breakups is, first of all, that we don't know the techniques. You don't know that, the first thing that you do, the first thing most people do when they go through a breakup or difficulty is they slide into a victim mentality. Almost all my clients, the first thing I notice is that they feel sorry for themselves. They're just listing all the bad stuff that's happened, and they've gone into that victim mindset. And the victim mindset immediately wants to blame someone else, wants to blame, it wants to blame, and it wants to say, oh, it's because of this that this happened. You either blame yourself or you blame someone else. And in the first week, in the first month, it's so critical, like especially in the first few weeks, not to make that a habit. Because you've been broken, because everything has become liquid, because that building has collapsed, now is your opportunity to like make sure that the blocks because you're going to be building, you're going to be naturally healing. So it's important that what is being built now is going to be good habits. All right, don't waste all this pain and suffering to just create new and worse habits. And the immediate habits we're going to have that are going to come are going to be like, you feel sorry for yourself, you feel victimized, you feel, everything bad happens to you, blah, blah, blah. The list is endless. This is the time when you got to like direct your attention and learn about attention, mastering your attention, learn about focusing on what serves you, letting go of what does not, whether it's thoughts, negative thoughts. There's going to be tons of negative thoughts. They all come from fear. Fear is the source of all the negative thoughts. So, during this time, it's so critical for you to be a guide, for yourself. And I uploaded a video yesterday, but there were a few things I didn't like about it, but I'm going to go ahead and unlist it again. And so you guys can go back and check it out. There was some stuff in there that would be useful, but I wasn't very happy with the video. But anyway, so Mike Tyson, and a lot of fighters are basically when they have no choice, he was basically robbing people. He was a burglar. He had a horrible life. Like living on the street life, just a tough guy, just doing up to no good. Yeah, he had no choices in life. And when we're faced with no choices, sometimes that's when we shine. You know, for me, when I went through my difficulty, I went through so much that I just realized I don't want this. Like I want to go in the other direction. Sometimes you need to like really feel that to like wake you up. And Mike Tyson was a heavyweight boxer, world champion, a legend. He was 5'9", I believe, which is quite short for a heavyweight boxer. Most heavyweight boxers are like 6'2", 6'3", over 6 foot, tall, big guys, long reach. You know, nobody can get close to them. They'll just bang, bang. You're just gonna have a hard time getting close. So Mike Tyson was very small for a heavyweight boxer. He also had breathing issues. He couldn't breathe very well. So he had two major weaknesses. But the amazing thing about Mike Tyson is that, and not just Mike Tyson, us, all of us out there, we all have this ability. We just need to know about it and how to do it. The amazing thing with Tyson, he had an incredible coach, and he basically trained himself to turn his weaknesses, and this isn't something that's just going to sound good. This is facts. These are incredible facts. In fact, they're not incredible. We are able to do this. We're doing them all the time. But he took his short height and he used that to his advantage to learn to be fast and to move in and out so people would have a hard time catching him. So he came up with this style called the peekaboo style, where he would move from side to side very aggressively while moving forward. And then as he would come forward, he'd come up with a punch. And he would knock people out in the first minute. He became well known for knocking people out in the first round of his fights, which leads me to his other weakness, which was he couldn't breathe. He had breathing issues. So because of his breathing issues, he had to finish his fights quickly. He couldn't be going for a long time. That was not to his advantage. So he turned himself into this tank, little tank, like a pit bull, and his weaknesses became his strengths. And all he did was train and train and train until he was fast enough. He could take out people very quickly. They had to find this guy new sparring partners because he was knocking out his training partners even. All right, so look, that's just one example. And Tyson isn't special. He's just someone who was taught how to think. Okay, and that's what we are learning here, is learn how to think, how to master your attention. I just had a session just before I made this video, and the person I'm working with, she's having a very difficult time. She's in her first week of her breakup, and of course the first week is the hardest. And in the first week you feel, like I said, like a victim. You just pouring all this negative thinking out. Okay? And it's amazing to me that how we will think positively in ways that will just hurt us and think negatively about things that will hurt us too. And what I mean by that is like how we will glorify our ex. We will just only think about the great things about them. And we create this just figment of reality. It's not even the real person. We just create this idea, this fantasy of who our ex was. And then we just build on it and we fantasize and we're like, oh, they were this and they were that and they were so, all you think about is just good stuff. And you forget, which is why one of the things that I have my clients do very early on if they're going through breakups is write a list of all the things that irritated you, that you disliked about your ex. Okay, because it helps you to remember them for for the real person that they were. A lot of people, when they go back to their exes, they break up again. Why? Because the whole time they were apart, they were just thinking of the good things. And it's a very natural, very common. It happens to almost everyone. It happened to me as well. When you break up, you immediately, because of that fear, that loss, you're just going to think about all the good things. How attractive they were, how they did this or that was just awesome. Everything awesome about them, and everything bad goes out the window. So, a very important technique that you can all do that will help. And for me, I would have it on the notes application on my MacBook, so that every time I would miss my ex or I wanted to go and check out her Facebook or Twitter or whatever, I would open up this notes app and just look at this list, and then I'll just be like, oh yeah, her mom. Oh yeah, thank God I'm not with her anymore. Or I'd be like, oh yeah, this, oh that, oh. And then I would have about maybe 20 things on my list, and by about the fifth one, I'd be like, okay, I can close the notes application. I remember why I'm happy with where I am. Okay, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's one of many techniques and tools that are going to help you. Just to remember reality and don't allow your mind to just take you for a ride, okay? So I'm going to wrap this up because 36 minutes, 37 minutes is quite long, isn't it? So don't let your mind take you for a ride. Be in charge of your mind. Make sure that your thoughts are in the right place. Is it going to be easy? No. Are you going to drift and think about negative thoughts and feel victim mentality happening and all this? Yes, it's going to happen. But just do your best. Do your best every day. Okay, and if you feel sad and you miss them or you're having difficulty, take 10 minutes out consciously and cry, be angry, be sad, look at their picture. Do it for 10 minutes, but then stop and then get back on with your day. All right, everyone, I'm really excited to be sharing again, and it's a bit overwhelming for me because there's so much stuff, and I'm going to try to just feed it into my new videos and not worry so much about getting it all into every video. All right, so our difficult times, our weakest moments, like Tyson, can become our strength, okay? And the most difficult times can become the best times, okay? I look back now at my breakup, a couple of years ago that's just sparked all of this. Everything has stemmed from there. Trees come out of ashes. If you look at forest fires make the earth healthy. They fertilize the ground, and out of that ash comes stronger trees. All right? Just allow it. Yes, I know it sucks, but allow it. Allow yourself to come out, to just blast out of yourself. Don't be afraid. Allow it to happen. And watch all of my other videos for the techniques, that help. And the sooner you can prevent those negative habits from developing, the easier it will be. Because if you allow the negative habits to start happening, they'll become habits, and habits are difficult to break. So right from the start, don't view yourself as a victim. You're an adult, okay? Breakups are difficult. We make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Get on with it, all right? Do your best now. Focus on what you have, not on what you don't have. Be grateful for everything that you have, because things can always be worse. So look at the things that you have, be grateful for them, make them stronger. All right? And I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios for now.